Hi everyone, it's Clyde here from Yellow Brick Road StMarys, your local wealth accelerator specialist. This week is another Meet Your Success story. Marrianne and her husband Will are clients of mine. They've been clients of mine for about a few years now, and I wanted to interview Marrianne today because she's they're a client of mine who had insurance or trauma insurance. Claims on that cover and has financially benefit from that. So as a financial advisor, my goal is to not only create wealth for my clients, but more importantly, it is to also protect them if the worst case scenario was to happen. And that's exactly what I did for Marrianne and Will. Put them on the financial path, but more importantly, made sure that they had the right risk protection in place if anything was to happen. You know, they both have two young girls, and if something were to happen to either one of them, my goal as an advisor is to make sure that they are all protected. So trauma cover is one of the covers or insurances that I always recommend to my clients. It is a insurance that pays you a lump sum if you suffer a traumatic event such as a heart attack or a stroke, cancers, accidents. The great thing about trauma cover or trauma insurance is that it pays you a lump sum, meaning that you can do whatever you want with that money. You can go on a holiday, you can take time off work, you can actually focus on recovering, pay the medical bills, put it on the mortgage, whatever it is that you want to do. That cover will help you with that. So thank you, Marrianne, for joining us. And firstly, just wanted to ask you what made Will and yourself decide to seek financial advice.
Yeah, so we basically seek financial advice to better our future. Obviously with mortgages, life insurance, trauma insurance. One of the better than what we currently had in place, because we don't really understand it, so naturally it's not, we want someone who actually understood it and put it to the test, obviously to where we should be in life. And yeah, so basically the trauma insurance was something that Clyde highly recommended for something that, I mean, it's one thing to understand it and there's another thing to have it. So we found that obviously having it wasn't going to hurt us. Just paying that little bit of extra difference did definitely help out in the long run for us. And it did help our situation, obviously, in this circumstance. Great,
thank you. So if you wouldn't mind just telling everyone who's watching, Marrianne, so yes, you have the insurances in place, and you did claim on trauma. So would you mind just telling just a little bit about how that happened, what happened, and the process with regards to all that?
Yeah. So basically we actually had informed Clyde of our circumstance, that hubby had actually got the melanoma. So then Clyde obviously advised us that we can actually obviously make a claim against our trauma insurance, and the process was very smooth. Clyde took care of everything. There was no stress at all, and yeah, then it went from there. And just then later on, Clyde gave us that phone call, that happy news phone call that every person that feels like their world's falling apart, that phone call was the best phone call I think I had in a long time, obviously for our circumstance.
Yeah, fantastic, and that's what I love to hear, especially when for an advisor when you've recommended a particular product or a service, and it actually works out, and it helps and it benefits the client. So Marrianne, and her husband had the trauma cover, and as she said, the claim process was smooth. Going through an advisor is one of the advantages when it comes to claim time, because your advisor actually looks after all that for you and manages that for you. And most importantly, when it goes through and the client gets the claim, the advisor, it's one of the best jobs where you pick up the phone and call the clients and tell them that they've received an amount that will actually benefit them financially. So,
oh, definitely so.
Yeah, fantastic. Just the last question, Marrianne. If to anyone who's watching who doesn't have trauma insurance or doesn't believe in any type of insurance, what would you recommend to them?
Definitely get it. I mean, we're all human. We don't know what tomorrow holds for us. We weren't expecting cancer in our life, and naturally it's one thing that we're grateful for, that Clyde has definitely told us that we had to get. So as I said, for a little bit more extra per month, per fortnight, however your payments are, definitely well worth it. So Clyde and his team are absolutely fantastic. So cannot highly recommend them at all.
Fantastic. Thank you very much,
No
Marrianne.
worries.
Really appreciate you taking the time. What Marrianne just said, we can't, or we don't know what's going to happen to us, and that's why it's so important to have that risk cover in place to make sure that if anything happens, then you are protected. And that as a financial advisor, that is my job. So that's it for this week. What you're seeing on the screen now is just a quick list of some of the covers that trauma can, or some of the events that trauma can cover you for. Every policy is different, but you can actually see on the screen it is quite extensive. And yeah, so as mentioned, it is a policy or an insurance that I highly recommend to all my clients. So if you'd like me to sit down with you and discuss your risk protection needs, I'm more than happy to just put your comments down below. Otherwise, if you have any other questions, please contact me as well. And remember, I'm dedicated to helping you take actionable steps today for a better financial tomorrow. Thank you very much. Thanks, Marrianne.
Thank you.